Bang, bang. Here we go. Start of the NBA season. Usually it's right around Halloween this time, right before Christmas. And we have our new DFS dad, cousin Timmy, aka Timmy, left-handed layup. Introduce yourself. Give us a 30-second background, and let's get on to this opening kickoff, not kickoff, tip-off slate.
Tipoff. You still in football mode. What's going on, guys? Cousin Timmy here, aka Left Hand Layup. I'm going to be your NBA analyst for the season, the 2020-2021 season. We're out of the bubble and back into stadiums. Fans will come soon, they say, but we'll see. I have a background working in the NBA in various positions for over 5 years. And the last position I had, I was a statistician with the Golden State Warriors, putting in the stats live that we follow on DraftKings and FanDuel. So that was me for some of those games that you guys were following, including a 30-pointer from Steph Curry. But I'm here with the DFS dads. I'm happy to join the team. Looking forward to a fun and awesome season, making you guys better DFS players and winning us some money for sure on top of that. Excited to get started with this 2-game slate. Tomorrow night, Tuesday, I don't know when you'll be watching this video, but we have 2 games on the slate. Brooklyn Nets, the new look Nets with Steve Nash at the head, taking on the Golden State Warriors and the return of Steph Curry in the early game. And in the late game, we have the Battle of LA at the Staples Center, the Lakers and the Clippers. So we're going to go down and break down these games here, tell you who I like in each position. And some of these guys here, these golfers and these football guys, they're going to give me their insight on the NBA. I'm going to tell them where they're wrong and where they're right. So without further ado, Spurs, we got a Timmy Duncan jersey on over here.
Right.
You guys are wondering, I have over 20 jerseys in my closet, and I'm going to wear one for every video, a different one. This is a city. This is actually a Jason Richardson jersey. The city back in the Warriors before they moved to their new spot in San Francisco, Oakland.
That was the Golden State Warriors that took out the Mavericks, right? As the 8th seed. Was he there for that?
Yeah. He was on that team with Baron Davis.
Yep.
Steven Jackson.
Yep. I like that team, man.
That's when I loved the NBA back then. Loved it.
Me too, because my Spurs made the playoffs every year. Now they're like my Cowboys, missing out.
Yeah, but I'm actually a Celtics fan, but NBA in general, obviously. So I have lots of jerseys, but many Celtics jerseys. So you'll see some green up on this screen throughout the season.
Nice.
Hopefully on your screens, everyone watching at the end of the slate.
Yeah, green jerseys, green numbers on your DK screen, FanDuel screen, wherever you're playing. We're gonna get there.
Yeah, I like the opening nights. Pretty nice games. You know, you have a lot of drama, if you will. You got KD, Steph coming back. You got Kyrie doing some weird stuff, and then you have the Clippers and Lakers, who obviously got the rivalry, and then you throw in Montrezl Harrell switching teams. So should make for a fun night.
Yeah, I wouldn't be surprised if there's a report that he went to the long locker room before the game starts. But let's get right into it. Let's look at the lines here. Looking at a 7 o'clock tip in Brooklyn at the Barclays Center for the Warriors and the Nets. It's at 228 open total, and the Nets are favored by 7 points to start the game. Excuse me, the total is actually 231. It has gone up since it opened. Compared to the Clippers and Lakers, that's 223. So 8 points can be a big difference in NBA. But the Warriors, the Nets are favored by 7. They have a fast-paced offense with Steve Nash as the new head coach and a Mike D'Antoni run offense. If you guys remember, Steve Nash was the point guard at Phoenix for the Phoenix Suns for a number of years when Mike D'Antoni was the coach, when they could not play any defense but scored 120 points every night behind Steve and Amari Stoudemire and Jay Richardson, my jersey. He was actually on that team too. So that's the higher total game. We'll start there. It's the earlier game. A lot of studs in this game. We have the revenge game of KD. Of course, he was out all of last season with the injury, playing against the old Warriors. Steph Curry's returning from his broken hand. We saw him get hot in a couple of preseason games. In under 30 minutes, he put up some big numbers. And then you have Kyrie, who missed most of the season last year. Obviously, there's tons of drama with him off the court, but he's still an elite player. So we have 3 elite guys in this game: Kyrie, Steph, Kevin Durant. And then we have a couple other guys that are kind of on the border of putting up elite numbers, not every night, but here and there. And those guys are Andrew Wiggins, Kelly Oubre. And then on the other side of the team in Brooklyn, you have Karis LeVert, who put up some huge numbers last year while Kyrie was out. And then you have Spencer Dinwiddie as well, who can put up big numbers for the Nets. On the Warriors side, we have to remember Klay Thompson isn't playing. He's out probably for most of the season, if not all. And then Draymond Green is ready to play, but he's not going to be playing probably until Christmas. So he's going to sit out this game with the foot. So he's typically the starter at the power forward. He'll be out. So the Warriors could go a number of ways with their starters. They probably will start Steph, Wiggins, Oubre, and then they'll either throw Pascal or Marquise Chris at the 4. We'll see what the lineup comes out tomorrow when they announce the starters. But the big guy to look out for is their number 1 draft pick, James Wiseman, who only played, I think, 1 college game last year for Memphis. But he's a talent. He didn't play in the preseason because he was on the COVID-19 list. But he's slated to start the game tomorrow. And on FanDuel, only at 4,200, it could be a sneaky pick for him. I don't know that he's going to play more than 20 minutes, just not playing in the preseason, being a rookie. On the other side of the court, they have Jarrett Allen and DeAndre Jordan, who are big centers, both 7 feet. They both like to bang and rebound. Offensively, they're not really skilled, either of them. But we could see Wiseman having a tough time offensively against those guys, obviously just being a rookie and not having played before. So that's kind of a summary of the game of who's playing and the total and whatnot. I expect this to be a high-scoring game. Obviously, the total 231 is pretty high. That means it's going to be in the hundreds on both sides. The Warriors, we'll see if Wiseman makes a difference defensively, but they were terrible defensively last year. And, KD is an elite defender, but Kyrie isn't so great. And their type of offense with their coach, the run and gun, the defense could be lacking in this game. So
how do you see the Brooklyn? Because you got Kyrie likes to have the ball in his hands, and then obviously KD's an elite scorer. Shown he can play off the ball like we do with Steph Curry and Klay, and still get his shots up. But you got LeVert and Dinwiddie, who both had really good years last year. And, how do you expect them to play, right? We know Kyrie's going to get up his shots. We know KD's going to get up his. What do you see of the ancillary pieces there?
So the guys I really liked in this game are Joe Harris, and DeAndre Jordan, besides KD and Kyrie. Dinwiddie, unfortunately, he ran the point when Kyrie was out last year and had the ball in his hands a lot. His usage rate last year is probably going to drop a lot because he is going to start alongside Kyrie at the 2. He can still score off the ball, and he may run the point some when Kyrie takes a rest, but they expect Kyrie and Durant both to play somewhere between like 32 and 34 minutes, depending on how the game goes, from what I've read. So that doesn't leave much time for Dinwiddie to run the point if he's starting alongside the 2 of them. So I think his potential goes way down, at least for this game and the start of the season until we see how it plays out. He's somebody I'm probably gonna avoid or fade in both on both sites. But they also have Tyler Johnson, Chris Chiozza. Those guys probably won't be in the rotation in the point guard slot. But who we'll see is that you mentioned Karis LeVert. He's not going to start. So he's going to be their 6th man, supposedly. But he'll still get close to 30 minutes. And if he's on the court, he'll probably run the point when Kyrie is off and he's running the second team. He's somebody that I think is a boomer bust play. He could put up 25 points and give you 40 points on either site. But if he doesn't shoot well, it's kind of one of those flame guys, He's either really hot or not so much, at least in his young career so far. So he's a guy I would throw in GPPs for sure. I'm not sure how different my cash lineups and GPP lineups will be since it's only a 2-game slate. Really have to find some low-owned guys for the GPPs that you're going to play in. But Dinwiddie, I think I'm going to avoid at his price on FanDuel. I'm looking at as 5,200. But another guy some other guys that are going to get some playing time that we can look at are Landry Shamet, who they just got from the Clippers, and Bruce Brown, who put up some big games towards the end of the season last year for Detroit. They didn't really have much else, so he kind of took charge. But you might see him run the point a little bit on the second team, or Landry Shamet a little bit, but he's more of a spot-up shooter. Bruce Brown is kind of more of a slasher type of guy. But I really like Joe Harris. He's going to start alongside KD and Kyrie, and he's going to get a lot of open looks. He's a guy that averages between like 14 and 20 points a game, and he's going to shoot probably 7 to 10 threes every night. So I really like him at the small forward spot from this game. And on the other side of the field, I think Steph is a lock in all lineups, including GPP, because even if he has a bad shooting night, he's still going to score, 18 points and have some other stats here and there. So his floor, he has a really high floor, considering the other point guards that are available to select from on FanDuel. And on DraftKings, there are a few extras because you have LeBron, who's listed as a point guard and forward. But some other guys that I'm going to take a shot at maybe from the Warriors side. Brad Wanamaker is going to be the backup point guard, so he's going to get minutes. He's solid, not a crazy scorer, but he can fill up the stat sheet defensively and with assists, and if he has a good night, maybe 8 to 10 points. But for his salary, 3,700, you can definitely take a shot on him. And then we don't really know who's going to get the minutes of the second tier guards on the Warriors. You have Damian Lee, Jordan Poole, some other guys. I'm not really sure what the pecking order is there. I think Jordan Poole was the first one off the bench in the preseason. Those are guys that I'm probably not going to be on. And then we mentioned Oubre, but my favorite play of this game is Andrew Wiggins. I think he has the potential to outscore Steph and Kyrie, and he's significantly cheaper, 6,600. Those other two guys are 87 and 9,000. So if you're looking to differentiate, he's a guy that I would lock in to my lineups on either one. But the one thing we got to keep in mind here for FanDuel is that you can play 4 of the big names, 4 of the high price guys you can fit into your lineups based on construction, what I've messed around with. But on DraftKings, you can only fit 3. So you have more kind of bigger choices to make over on DK on who you're going to roll with. What do you guys think so far?
Yeah,
So-
I mean,
Any
Go ahead,
other
Preston.
questions about this game?
So I immediately was drawn to Kyrie just because of the savings on Curry. I mean, they should put up roughly around the same points, I would imagine. You just get 800 savings in Irving. Obviously, Curry has the higher upside because when he gets hot, he just goes ballistic and you can't stop him. But I mean, what do you think Kyrie's going to come in lower than Curry?
I think so because Curry's slightly cheaper. And Curry's just, his ceiling is so much higher than Kyrie, especially with all the scores they have on Brooklyn. Whereas like on Golden State right now, it's just Steph and Wiggins. So he's going to take 30 shots probably. You know, he has a ceiling to score 50 any night, whereas I think Kyrie's ceiling is a little bit capped because of KD and Dinwiddie and Harris and some of these other guys who can actually score the ball.
I do like your call on Joe Harris. He's super sneaky. No one really talks about him, but he's a very underrated player who puts up a lot of. And he should have a lot of open threes now with Kyrie driving. I would imagine they'll do some pick and roll with him and Durant, which should be a deadly combination, and then have Harris open in the corner.
Yeah, I can likely see. I mean, at the small forward position, I'm looking at FanDuel right now. You have LeBron, who's the highest priced player on this slate at 11,000, and then you have Kawhi, and then you have Oubre and LeVert, and so Harris is 5th down on the list, significantly cheaper than all, and you know, he could easily outscore Oubre and LeVert. He's not likely to outscore Kawhi or LeBron, but most people I think might roll with the double big guy. You know, they might roll with LeBron and Kawhi, and you know, go elsewhere, save the money elsewhere. But I think for me, I'm gonna stick with Joe here, my buddy Joe.
I want to see Wiseman play so bad. I mean, he was like the next generational talent that Penny Hardaway got to go to Memphis, and then I guess he took some money, so he couldn't play. And now he actually gets paid to play. But I mean, I think has the potential to be a monster in the NBA. It does suck. His first test is against like 2, I would say probably top end defenders in Allen and DeAndre. And I think Pascal's going to probably be the chalkiest play of the slate just because Draymond's out and he's so cheap on at least DraftKings. I don't think he's that cheap on FanDuel, but I mean, if they announce he's starting, I bet you he's 50% owned on DraftKings.
Could be, yeah.
I think he's like 3,800 there and 4,900 on FanDuel.
Yeah, he's pretty cheap there. Let me see. Let me look over here on DK. Yeah, if he starts, he'll definitely be high owned because people know the name because he started a lot last season, and he's really cheap. But I think he's going to be limited in this game because if Wiseman plays alongside him, he's going to get all the rebounds that Pascal would normally get. Because don't forget when Pascal put up huge numbers last year, he was putting up 20 and 10. They had no big guy. They had nobody to rebound. Looney barely played. He was hurt most of the season. And they had Marquise Chris as well, and who I like on DraftKings a little bit actually. But we'll see who starts. I don't think the minutes will change for those guys really, depending on who Steve Kerr starts. I think they'll, kind of even out throughout the game, but we'll see. But yeah, he is. He's 3,800 on DK. So yeah, he could be highly owned there.
I think if he starts, he's a decent cash consideration just because it allows you to spend up elsewhere.
Yeah, for sure. Definitely on DK, especially, how I mentioned, you can only pick 3 guys really, 3 of the big names, and you got to choose wisely.
Yeah.
Any thoughts before we move on to the second game from you two?
No.
All right. Let's move on to the next game. You have the Lakers and the Clippers. They played 4 times last year. They split the series 2-2. The game total is at 223, and the Lakers are favored by 3 points.
It's a close one.
3 points. So one thing I want to point out is that last year these teams, the Clippers have a new coach, Ty Lue. He was an assistant under Doc Rivers in the past. I don't really see the game flow changing that much for the Clippers. They have some new faces. Obviously, Harrell's gone. They brought in Ibaka who's going to eat up his minutes that Harrell had. And they still have Lou Williams as their backup point guard, who's their 6th man. And another to note is that they have Marcus Morris, who's not playing. Now, he started last year, and he played 30 minutes for them pretty much every game he played. So he's out. They have – we'll probably see a starting lineup of Pat Beverly, who has won some people, some slates and GPPs with 25-point outings and before. But they'll go Pat Beverly, Kawhi, Paul George, and probably Luke Kennard. Potentially, he may come off the bench. We'll see what the starters are. But we'll probably see Patrick Patterson and Nick Batum, who's a new player on the team, take most of Morris's minutes, I would assume. I'm not sure how they'll divvy it out. But if I was going to try to save some money, Nick Batum is the minimum on FanDuel at 3,500. And he's probably going to play over 20 minutes just because Patterson is just kind of limited defensively. He's kind of a 3-and-D guy, but I don't know who he's going to stop on the Lakers.
Kyle Kuzma.
But yeah, Patterson and Batum will probably take those minutes, and then they have Zubats coming off the bench there. But we'll probably see Ibaka play 28 27 to 30 minutes, which is about what Harold played for the Clippers last year in that role, even though Ibaka is going to start. And then the Lakers, defending champs, LeBron and AD sat out most of the preseason, but AD put up 35 points in 3 quarters in the last game and broke the slate for everybody who played him. I did not play him because I didn't think he was going to play more than the first half. But that's why you got to be wary of what these coaches say, because they don't always mean what they say. Depends on how the game goes. But they have who am I drawing a blank here on?
Is Schroeder their starting point guard?
Yeah, that's what I was thinking of. Dennis Schroeder is going to start at the point. He's been the 6th man on all the teams he's played on before. But he'll start at the point. They'll have Caldwell Pope will start at the shooting guard position, who I really like in this game. He's almost the minimum price on FanDuel, $3,700, and on DraftKings, he is $4,200. I really like him. Last year, him and Danny Green, where they are basically spot up shooters for 3, and Danny Green's gone. So he's going to get most of those shots. Schroeder's more of an on the ball kind of guy. So he'll take some open threes for sure if LeBron's handling the ball. But I really like Pope to take maybe 10 to 15 shots in this game. And at his price at 4,200, if he scores 12, 15 points, he could win you the slate. He's also a good defender. He gets a lot of steals. And, occasionally maybe he'll block a shot. But he'll shoot some threes, which is what you want from these cheap guys. You need a guy to hit 4 or 5 threes in a game, and that's all you need. But I really like Pope. Caruso's going to get some minutes. They also have Wes Matthews, who will get some minutes, but he doesn't really do much besides shoot. And then you have your boy THT, Horton Tucker, who was the leading scorer in the preseason, I believe. He lit it up. He's a 2nd-year player. He played sparingly last year. And he's probably like the 8th or 9th guy in the rotation. So depending on how this game goes, if he gets minutes, which I don't know if he will, maybe 15 or so, he could be a little bit sneaky. But I also think a lot of people might be on him because of the preseason, and the preseason is never really a good outlier of how the season's going to go, because the minutes are just not the same. Alex Caruso will get a lot of minutes as the backup point guard for the Lakers. And then Kuzma, my man Kuzma. I really like Kuzma. He's kind of mid-tier price here, but in the 4 games last year versus the Clippers, he played 27 minutes on average in those. He played 3 of those 4 games. He played 27 minutes. He averaged 16 points, shot 6.5 3-pointers in those games, which is big, and 7 rebounds a game. So he averaged 30 fantasy points in those 3 games that he plays. But most importantly, it's the minutes. He's going to play 27 minutes against a Clippers team, 2nd unit that is not good. They're not as good as the Lakers. I really like him. In addition to KCP from the Lakers, and who else do they have? They have Markieff Morris, who will get some minutes. I don't really like his game for this Lakers team as far as fantasy-wise goes. But then you have Harrell, who you mentioned before. He's played against Zubats before in practice. He had some big games in the preseason offensively, and I think he'll be popular. But, probably most guys on this slate are going to be 50% or more owned, especially on FanDuel. We'll probably see, Kyrie and Steph and LeBron all be over 70% owned because it's only a 2-game slate. So it's really about the combo here. And then the Lakers will start Marc Gasol at the center. Harrell will be the backup. Gasol probably going to play the JaVale McGee, Dwight Howard minutes, but he'll start and probably come in at the end of the game if it's close. Because I don't know that they'll trust Harrell yet, but who knows in the beginning of the season. We'll see. That's kind of a summary of the new guys on these teams and who's going to get minutes and so forth. I mentioned some of the guys I like. What do you guys think? Who do you guys like in this game?
I mean, I hate Patrick Beverly personally. He's like a little chihuahua to me. That's what he reminds me of. But he plays a ton of minutes, and he's scrappy. So he's going to get some steals. He's going to get some rebounds. He's had multiple 10-plus rebound games. It's just a matter of his scoring, right? Is he going to shoot the ball well? And generally, he's not a great shooter, but he does have those games. So I think he's somebody you could kind of take a flyer on just because what you're going to get out of him, and how many minutes he's going to play. So he's kind of one that piques my interest as far as the lower end guys. I think, they just paid your boy there, and he should get, like you said, 26, 27 minutes, and he shoots a lot. And Kuzma, sorry. And anytime you watch him play, he shoots the ball. He's not afraid to shoot it. Like, that's what they pay him for. So I like him to get up a lot of shots with that second unit, especially that they cleared out a little bit of some other shooters like Danny Green and that kind of thing. So I think he's a sneaky play. Obviously, they have a lot of faith in him if they paid him, for that extension. So my question to you: you have the big superstars in the 2-game slate. Give me your top 3. If you're going to play 3 of the top end guys, which 3 are you picking?
Well, on DK, we'll start there since I'm looking at it. I'm going to play Durant, LeBron, and Curry, most likely, if I had to choose 3, because you can only choose 3 for your lineup construction. And then on FanDuel, I would go AD, Durant, and Steph. I like LeBron on DK because you get the bonus for the double-double and triple-double, and he's really the only guy of all those guys that we named that can get there consistently. Whereas on FanDuel, you get the bonus, you get more points for steals and blocks, which is where I would spend the money, the LeBron money on AD, because the double-double there doesn't really matter as long as he's getting points and some other ancillary stats there. So those are kind of the guys I like if I had to choose 3. But I think my top play of the night is Wiggins. I really like Wiggins. I think that game, if I had to choose, I think I would stack. You got 8 slots on DK. I think I might even stack 6 and 2. I might even go 6 guys from the Brooklyn Golden State game and 2 guys from the Lake game. And then on the same thing in FanDuel, you got 9. I would probably do 6 and 3 between the 2 games. You just got to pick the right 6. 3.
That's the tough part. That's the tough part. And to wrap all this up is I love how you gave a high level overview. It's only 2 game slate, but you can have a lot of advantage as well. It being the first night. We don't really know the rotations, but our boy Timmy has been grinding the preseason. He gave you a good breakdown. So if you didn't really know what was going on, you don't know who's going to play and what kind of minutes you're going to get. If you stay till the end of this video, which you're at now, you got a couple nuggets of his favorite play as well. Definitely go check us out on dfsdads.com. We appreciate it. Be sure to like, comment, subscribe, do all that good stuff, and follow us on both our socials, the DFS Dads on Facebook and Twitter. And we'll be posting up our favorite plays for both DraftKings, FanDuel shortly. So if you don't want to worry about doing all the research, because especially NBA, before lock, everything can get crazy. We're going to take all that pressure off of you. So go check us out if you haven't. And NBA season's here. It's going to be fun. Merry Christmas to y'all.
Let's do it. Let's win some money, guys.